Welcome to South Harmon. Welcome to South Harmon. Hey, welcome to South Harmon. We glad you here today. Another AMA. Ask me anything. Super chat is cool if you wanna pay to play. Like and subscribe, that's what we really appreciate. Let me introduce you to the tear down king. Mike McNutty, that's your questions, he'll answer anything. ATM, you know I don't put them graphics on the screen. Glad you tapped in now, stay tapped in for the team. Hey, everything is posted. Go follow the socials. South Harmon FF tag us if we get noticed. Welcome to South Harmon, we glad you here today. Welcome to South Harmon, we glad you here today. Another AMA. Welcome to South Harmon, we glad you here today.
What's good, everybody? Wednesday night AMA. We are back and live in the building. Hope everyone is having a fantastic Wednesday. I know it's cold as fuck here in Iowa. Fuck you, Midwest. Fuck you very much. It is terrible. This is ridiculous. It's churlish. It's insubordinate.
The hell's going on?
Need to go
the
see
hell?
O'Shag Hennessy.
Mike's
Did you mean Principal O'Shaughnessy?
Mike's got the listen. Mike's got all intentions of having a fun night. We got him. Look at my man. We got him all dressed up, man. The Woodford Reserve. Listen, when you get cold in the Midwest, nothing heats you up like that brown. You know, if you know, you know.
Everybody's in for a treat too because I've already downed a glass doing the trade show beforehand.
Don't play it down. I mean that was some glass. If we're calling that a glass, that was a hefty pour of a glass.
Oh, am I supposed to like bougie, like sip it, like slow?
No. Listen.
Okay.
No one is going to tell you how to drink it, but let's just know when Mike's drinking it like it's vodka, we're gonna have a fun night.
Redward's in here. This is a pre-recorded. Fuck you, Redwards. Pre-recorded. We have never done that in history of AMA ever.
That would be impossible, but fun to try. I just don't know how it would work. Like,
yeah, I don't know either.
How does that work?
I don't know how the fuck.
We could pull up old comments. Like, we just start pulling them up on the screen. Like, yeah, I don't know about that though, man. That seems kind of crazy. I wouldn't do that. No.
It's like comments from last year's AMA.
Yeah. You know.
Whatever the fuck. Do you think I should pick up Jake Browning? Yeah, man.
Why would you pay a first for fucking? No, I wouldn't pay a first for Ayuk. He's dead already. Cross him off the list.
I love it. This would be fucking awesome. How you doing, man? You rocking the A-Rich jersey tonight?
Yeah, I don't know. I got all kind of sick shit going on. I'm sick with coming after people with A-Rich takes. I don't care. I don't care at all.
Captain.
Yeah, Captain. Mike, I was actually going to be something I talked about today. What a fucking pool. Dude, imagine being the captain to get benched for fucking Flacco. How crazy is that?
This is
some
like
captain, huh?
This was like the real life Any Given Sunday, like playing out. You know what I mean? Yeah, fucking Jamie Foxx's character gets benched for Cap Rooney.
Yeah.
Start the playoff game. Like, what
Come
the
on,
fuck?
man. Come on, man. That ain't right what they did doing that shit. You know, come on, man.
The best, insane. My favorite. Eric's got a favorite line of this movie, and I'm not saying he's wrong because it's fantastic. You know, when they're driving fucking Cap back in the opening of the movie back to the locker room, and they're like, Cherubini's down. And the head athletic trainer goes, Cherubini, what do you do? Fall off the fucking bench?
That's so awesome. That is good.
That is a great line. But my personal favorite one, and I love it because the soundtrack afterwards, they did a great job in that movie, is when Cap starts the playoff game and he goes to the huddle. And the one guy asks him, hey, how's that disc of yours? Because he fucked up a disc in his back early in the season. He's like your favorite CD, baby. Still spinning.
Still spinning? Yeah. I remember that. It's good shit, man.
You can see Joe Flacco in the huddle like, how's that disc of yours? Still spinning.
It's kind of crazy when you think about how that shit went down, man. But listen, thumbnail, I feel as though there was a lot of things that went down last week that are noteworthy to talk through. but really none other as far as how important to talk about than what we witnessed from motherfucking Puka, my guy. Like, at least for me, that shit was crazy. No, I mean, am I high? Is it just me?
Nuka. That's his new name.
I like that. Nuka. Well, let's put him up here. Here's your Nuka.
There you go.
What do you think?
Nuka. You posed the question on the thumbnail. I expounded upon it in the description. Top five. Worldwide. Wide. Is Puka Nacua top 5 in Dynasty? So first thing I do, obviously, I go to friends of the program, sponsors unofficially of the show.
I mean, at this point, we have breakfast with them as often as Cooper Kupp does with Stafford. But because at this point, Puka, I think, is doing more breakfast than Kupp is, right?
The Keep Trade Cutters say the answer is no, not yet.
The crazy part, though, Mike, is I kind of felt like with the reactionary world we live in, like they would say yes. Now,
they say yes. Right.
They got him on the heels of one Malik Nabers, and I feel as though with Malik, I don't want to take too much credit, but I feel like I just hit it on the head. Nobody was thinking early on he could come out and smash, because how the fuck can you smash? Because we're seeing the second half of the year. Mm-hmm. How the fuck can you smash in this situation? Even though he didn't do it for a full season, even though when we look at the total counting stats, he did it enough, and he did it early enough to where nobody's going to forget what he did, even though it was a small window, because of the way we play the game. I don't know that he's going to pass him. And it's just crazy to think that you don't know if he's going to pass Malik Nabers, given the fact that Puka just went for 40 in the fucking game to get you to the playoffs, set to win you with the playoffs. Mm-hmm. But this thing named Malik Nabers, we ain't fucking leaving. Like, people probably ain't leaving. That's the crazy part about it.
I think there's a conversation between the two, and if you took Puka over Nabers,
you're not crazy. You're not wrong. No, you're not wrong. I will say this, matter of fact, if the trends hold for one more week, especially with this week being the first round of the playoffs, I'm not saying Puka's going to go for 40, but let's say he has a nice top 5 finish,
6 for 80 and a tutty.
Top 5 finish on the week at the position.
There you go, somewhere in there. And Malik Nabers continues to do now with Tommy DeVito. Tommy Cutlets back.
We're back.
6 for 70 and no touchdowns. That's going to flip. Now, I'm going to do a little future casting, though, Adam. Heading into 2025. These two are going to be duking it out. But heading into 2025, the Giants get a Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, something of that ilk.
I mean, Shedeur Sanders is going to take it to a new level. You know that.
No matter if Puka actually does leapfrog Malik Nabers over these next couple weeks, that will flip by April again. If they Giants get a quarterback, a legit quarterback.
If they get Shedeur, if they get Shedeur though, the pandemonium, the fucking energy, it just that one especially feels problematic for stocks on the rise. Like, it's going to take that shit to the moon. People will have start envisioning and guaranteeing the first window of Malik Nabers before pre-concussion, Mike, as a full-blown 17-game projection locked in like that. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm saying that's what people are going to start doing to their future casting.
We talked about it a little bit on recap, but Amon-Ra St. Brown, that's another name that needs to be brought up that's in the top 5 right now.
Yeah. Currently,
is that one you could flip-flop?
Listen, I personally think right now, I didn't think we'd be here, but I think there's a case to be made for both Nico and Puka really not being all that different from Amon-Ra.
Could be the very same thing, right?
I mean, like, legitimately, tell me what's the difference.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we did get a 40-point week from Amon-Ra, albeit in week 11.
Amon-Ra's had a season that's really just hung up on touchdowns right now when you look at him versus the field.
Yeah, I mean, these last couple weeks haven't been the most spectacular. 6 catches, 5 catches, 5 catches. Wide receiver 27, 32, 37. So it's been really
Listen, this is actually no knock on Amon-Ra, though. It's just I think Nico and Puka have solidified their case for me.
With their explosives. Yeah. I think they're probably in the same tier. I still prefer Amon-Ra over Puka. But
yeah, I'm not saying that you have to trade them one for one.
It's a conversation.
But like to me, for example, here's the way I describe it. If I have Puka or Nico, when I'm going against you in the playoffs, I view Amon-Ra. I don't look over at Amon-Ra and be like, oh damn, there's Chase waiting to go for a bag on my head. Like I literally don't view myself in that matchup any different. And there's nothing at all that I would pay. I mean, I don't even think I'm paying a third to go up. Like I'm not paying to go up to Amon-Ra. So to me, that's as clear and defined as I could say. That makes what I view a tier now for those players.
That's the process play. Let me put my nuts out on the table for this one though.
Okay.
I'll give you the hard ones that I say no to.
Okay. Meaning
Chase, Jefferson, CD Lamb, no conversation.
I'm with you. And I think right now Nabers and Puka are the game in which you're playing at the moment. Like it right now, I think if you have Nabers and wouldn't take Puka in the playoffs, I think you're kind of not playing the game appropriately.
Right.
But if you wanted to take the inverse because you're in a rebuild, I don't think it's necessary, but I definitely get it. You know what I mean?
I haven't updated my dynasty ranks in fucking forever. Right? That's just on me. But I also too kind of like to look to see where I went wrong at the beginning of the year.
Can I tell you what's crazy? I did it late November, and the amount of stuff that will already change is kind of
nuts,
wild.
It's ever moving. But if I had to do them right now, Chase, Jefferson, CD Lamb, tier 1. Don't give a shit who you still have. Like people will say it's clearly Chase, or they still really like Jefferson. I still really enjoy CD Lamb and his potential upside, especially with Dak back for the long-term future. He's just that fucking good. Tier 2 though. Nabers, Puka, Nico Collins, Marvin Harrison for me. All four of them. Damn, by themselves. There's nobody else after them that deserves to be in that tier, but that would be my tier 2.
I feel like although it was the 23rd of November, I kind of still stand by these. Chase, Jefferson, Lamb, tier break. Nabers, Amon-Ra, Puka, Nico.
There you go. We're very similar on this one.
Yeah, I will say I get the allure of Nabers though, because Nabers right now, I feel as though from what he did early and what he's going to still do, like you talk about 6 and 70, while that doesn't mean much for production as far as warp and in his situation, plus just keeping pace with that stat line for the rest of his rookie season, the games he's played, he's going to be on like a points per game rise and what we needed to see to be what Jefferson and Chase are. So like to me, I get 100% why the Nabers thing still exists. He still has that pathway. I'm not saying it's locked in, but I'm saying right now what he's done and shown, he could definitely be the next coming of those guys if you were to say one is out there. So I get that. I just wouldn't sacrifice right now if I didn't have to for that. You know what I mean?
I would say specifically with Nabers, Puka, and Nico, a lot of people will be in agreement with those guys. And I'm with you. Like any one of them, if you gave me an extra third, cool. But I'm not paying the third to fucking change them. Like I'm not doing it. I think for me the most obvious one, like if we got talked about it on the trade show, the clown gif, with all the special forces in there, the one standing out, a lot of people will point out Marv at this point. They're so disappointed and disrespected. I still believe this is why I have him up there. I think for the process play for me, Adam, would be if I had Puka, Amon-Ra, Nico Collins, and somebody would let me down tier in their mind to Marv, and I could pick up a good second, could pick up maybe a first, in some of these. I'm not going to say nothing's impossible. I think to you and me, it seems fucking ludicrous too, but we also talked about the Jonathan Brooks situation where I said, like, any second at this point feels like a fucking dub when we didn't have the confirmed ACL, and yet I'm on Twitter today and people are out here advocating trading your early second for Jonathan Brooks like fucking morons. So there's also leagues out there that don't actually have a basis in reality. So when I say if I could trade my Puka for Marvin Harrison in a first, I'd fucking do it 8 billion times. It's an option.
No, I'm with you.
South Harmon leagues, that's probably not fucking happening.
Yeah, I would venture to say in a lot of leagues you can't get that done. However, if there was a playoff opportunity window, like that's one of those things where keeping the trade deadline off, right? It wouldn't shock me to see. I think the way it will actually get done, Mike, and especially a lot of the best ball leagues, right? It would look something more like I get Malik in a second, you get Nico and a piece that really isn't worth a second. Not Noah Brown level, but maybe a little step ahead of that. I don't know. Something of that ilk, though, right? Like, I think that's how you get it done. Something like that.
Yeah, that's probably it.
But I would 100% in the. That's when if I'm not in contention, if I'm not in the playoffs, Mike, you'd be crazy not to take that side. No, the neighbors and a second, Jesus.
Yeah, like you do it. You
100%,
do it.
100%.
You do backflips thinking about how awesome it was.
Yeah, I'd be.
Yeah, nailed it.
I'm kind of curious to see. I have some neighbor shares. I have quite a few neighbor shares, and listen, Nate, Malik, we've had a good long ride. I'd love for it to keep going, but we're at that time where next year is gonna look like yesteryear, and I'm not waiting. Like I'm ready. I'm ready to sacrifice you.
We've also been down this road before, right? Not saying Neighbors is anything like these other guys, but I'm just saying when you see the same fucking movie over and over again, by the time you get to the third or the fourth fucking sequel of it, it's like I already seen this shit. You just change the name. That's it. All I'm saying with Neighbors is we've been down this road for multiple years with Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, Drake London. And it feels like we're still at the same fucking point we were fucking 3 years ago with these dudes. It's like, if they ever get that quarterback, oh, baby.
Sure. Well, I do think Malik, though, I think Malik's the difference is you're right on the general theme for sure. I do think Malik already, though, has shown us more and meant more currently, even still, than, fucking Drake London was like wide receiver 40 or some shit, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like it was, he's done, I think, more, and I get why there's more hype. However, if the second half of the year was to continue for a full season, what's really the difference between Chris Olave and Chris Olave plus? It's just not much, right? It's the same song and dance. It's the same idea. I think he's proven, though, at least to be able to smash even with a terrible quarterback, but it's been a short window, and the narratives are – the stars are aligning for the narratives to keep playing, especially given the fact that team might not fucking turn it around for quite some time. The comments he makes, too, are just unreal. Like, I didn't pay for the plane. I didn't pay for the plane.
You can tell he's not happy.
Of course not. How could you be? But that's fantastic. Fantastic stuff.
Neighbors, depending on how he finishes out the year, right? Depending on how this Tommy DeVito thing here goes for the next 3 weeks, could be semi-decent, could kind of be what we saw. It could be a clusterfuck of disaster. Right now, in the points per game nerds, the people who really love look at that, he's number 10 amongst the wide receiver position.
Right.
Which, to your point, Drake London, Garrett Wilson, and Chris Olave were always like the 13s, 12s, like in that range. So it's a little rosier because of how he started the season, but there's also a scenario here these next 3 weeks just fucking crater him too, where it's like 4 catches for 36 yards.
Sure.
It's like, this is the best we can do. And then you look up at the end of the year and it's like, oh man, the points per game nerds would be all over this one. Oh, he was a fucking 13-pointer. Wait till he gets a quarterback. Fuck.
Yeah. I think what's been kind of encouraging to the thing you're speaking to is that, like, it's been few and far between where he's had these, like, complete no-shows. part of that is literally because they just fucking do force feed him. You look at his targets, and it's just like, hey guys, we kept a quarterback which we fucking let go of this season to draft a receiver.
Is a 34% target share good?
I think it's
that's good.
Is Joe Flacco elite?
Jesus Christ.
Right? I mean,
oh man.
34% though, Mike, is otherworldly.
The man has 126 fucking targets on the year where he missed 3 games?
Yeah, 3 games concussion. 3 games concussion's also crazy.
He's number 4 in the entire league in fucking targets, and he missed 3 games.
Yeah, that's correct.
That's a lot.
That's Mike. That is correct. Believe it or not. Let's have the conversation here. I feel like a lot of people play in leagues where the deadline's come and gone, right? But let's say that it didn't. Let's say that it didn't. Okay. What are you doing with Malik Nabers right now?
Well, I tried to sell him earlier in the year, but I was shooting my shot on Jaden Daniels. Everybody told me to fuck off, so that didn't work.
Yeah, I mean,
tried.
There was a window in time where people said, nah. There was a window in time where people would basically, it couldn't happen. You couldn't go the other way around. It was largely Jaden Daniels' favor for the second half of the season. At this point, what do you do?
The tough conversation you and I have had, and listen, to this point, it's probably still fucking paid off for us. It really has. The process actually has, even though people will go back and be like, oh, you guys are idiots. With Chase, with Jefferson, when we said, dude, we're selling these guys because how much higher can they go? and in all reality, neither one of them has been able to go any higher. It's not like all of a sudden in startups they were the number 1 or 2 pick in a Superflex league. They weren't.
The difference is, honestly, the difference really comes down to format. Like, in a lot of those leagues, we're in a best ball league, and you can recoup that. Those lineup start 10s, lineup start 9s, if we did it, tougher. Like, those are a little more of an L,
I think back to a deal like me and Tommy Tipple made. Our very first deal we ever made. I'm
trying to remember the details. I know it was crazy.
This was a long time ago. A long time ago. This is coming off Justin Jefferson's rookie year where he exploded. I traded Justin Jefferson away for what was the 111 and a future first. Like what people said was light at the time. Like, how could you trade away the number 1 dynasty wide receiver of what he just did in his rookie year for this?
A-Rich now, tomorrow, and the next day.
I guarantee if you ask Thomas, he's still very happy with the deal. And if you ask me, I'm still extremely happy with the deal. I took that 111. I drafted Jalen Waddle when Jalen Waddle fucking exploded in his rookie year. Then I flipped his ass, right? And like, this is how you just keep multiplying assets. This is how you get to the point where in that very league, I had enough first accrued from keep doing this over and over again to be able to go buy an elite quarterback, which has helped me make the playoffs the last 3 fucking years. Like, it kept me in contention for the money. So I think both of us walked out of it in a smaller lineup league like that, both very happy. Now, is there some inherent risk to me doing that kind of thing? Like, what if I would have bricked on the 111 instead of, I don't remember like what the super turd at that point. We always have one every year. The Trey Sermon, the Keyshawn Vaughn, like this fucking clown that doesn't actually belong in the first round that gets pushed up. Like, if obviously I take one of them fucking shitbirds.
Pre-NFL draft, Matt Corral,
Yes, somebody of that fucking ilk, you go in the shitter. Right, so there is inherent risk, but if you're right, like, you want to be a little bit risky, you can keep multiplying your assets year over year, right? You could have done this with the Brandon Ayuk class, like you could have done it with him with a late round, first round pick. When they hit those, then I don't know. For me, with the wide receiver position, like Malik Nabers, you and I have kind of been on this for years at this point. I still lean to I'm good selling. I'm good selling when you reach that like elite territory as a young one because there's not a lot of upside. I think just the way Dynasty is played now, though, and especially in the format, depending like you're talking about, Adam, in these lineup leagues, I'm I'm probably not settling for the 111 and just a future first anymore. Like
No, God, no.
You got to pay a little bit closer to market, but I'll still move. How about that?
Well, because honestly, the market used to be different too. I mean, go look at ADP. Jamar Chase was typically anywhere from the 103 to the 106 in those drafts because of the way in which the game was played. Meaning, wide receivers, even as Jamar Chase was notedly generational then. It wasn't like that wasn't the case. It was just some people didn't believe in taking a receiver that high up, and some people took Kyle Pitts fucking ahead of him in that class. So now the game so much has changed. And what's funny is this year, of all years, it's still sky high when Jerry Jeudy, now Mike officially, is fourth in yards, all positions, because he passed Brock Bowers. They're not leaving still. So a guy like Malik Nabers, who could be the second coming of a Chase, of a Jefferson, that's on target for that, you got to be Jaden Daniels. Mm-hmm. That's the person you got to be for a one-for-one pivot in a class. So I guess to the point, Mike, in a best ball league, I'd probably sell my soul to go win a title for something that most people wouldn't consider, right? But if I'm not having that conversation, I'm not going past Nico. Like, realistically.
No.
I'm probably not. Like, now, if we're tearing down and I can get to stay in the JSN range, maybe. If I'm actually filling a hole, like filling a true void, and it's going to be a really good plus. But it's got to be a reasonable plus. You know what I mean? Like, I'll go down and be able to stay in the sexy tier if I can. But it's just Malik Nabers in the offseason, the reason I say this, is still going to be valued. Like, think about what we saw him not play for 3 weeks. We've seen now that the offense is just garbage. Mike, you include quarterbacks, you include everything. In the fucking point scoring pinnacle, the dude is top 12. Like, the lowest he could possibly be is right now. You know, he's going to be ahead of Bijan. I mean, I don't know. Maybe the Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers and non-tight end premium at 9 is just it just boggles my mind.
Yuck.
I imagine he passes him too, but he's going to be a top 10 asset in the offseason because everyone goes to get young, right? So he's just one of these pieces that's like non-replicatable, honestly. Like, especially even with this class as good as it is, Mike, I don't think Tet's going to have this type of upside allure. You know what I mean?
So let me ask you then.
Yeah.
Malik Nabers or the 101?
Contender or rebuilder? Doesn't matter.
Let's go rebuilder. Like, I don't think you're doing this if you're a contending team right now.
I will take, because of the lack of the quarterbacks, I will take Malik Nabers over the 101.
All right. I'm not saying you're wrong either. I probably would lean Malik Nabers. Like, he's going to be valued more highly, especially what I was talking about earlier. If they get a quarterback, like, then boom, everything kind of fucking takes off. The hype machine is nuts.
Right.
Let's say this, though. Where we're at now, people probably aren't valuing the 101 correctly. So how much more on top of the 101 would you need to be like, this is a no-brainer for me? I'm taking the pick and this other piece.
It's going to have to be, if we're talking a lineup league, start 10, start 9, start 10. The multiplication game, right, in best ball, I'll play multiplication to death. I'll go down and down, tear down for forever. I'll go to, I don't know. We could scroll on Keep Trade Cut for quite some time. Lineup start 10, it's like you can't buy your way multiplication to the top for me. So, like, that piece is going to have to be really nice. I mean, you could throw some out just to get my feel on it, but, like, I'm talking another top 6 pick.
I was going to start there. I said, let's talk to 106. 101 and 106 are Malik Nabers in a Superflex start 10 league. Lineup league.
I might tell you to fuck off or give me another piece, like another kick in, just to really kick your
Another
grill.
one.
Yeah, but
Just
you're getting to the point where if you give me 101 and you give me 105 ish, you're probably in the neighborhood. You're in the neighborhood. I'm not sure that I'm going to do it, but you're in the neighborhood of all right, we're having a conversation now.
Even in a disappointing class, though, to highlight the difference between lineup and best ball, the 101 and 106 would be a smash for me, and I wouldn't even think twice. I wouldn't fucking
in best ball
dilly-dally. Yeah, in a best ball league.
Well, the reason, and here's the truth. I will say, to highlight the point you made about the 111, one of the things I've learned, and if I was to make that move, Mike, even if I do draft, the idea for me is not going to be to draft and use the 101. I'm going to end up trying to maneuver that 101 when it's at peak. That said, even if I do draft the 101, in this class, I'm not looking to hold that asset for all time. If I play this game, it's to really drive up through multiple trades Malik Nabers' value into, like, I can't fuck this up. You know, like I'm trading the 101 now for whichever one of these receivers or players is depressed in value at the time and something. Like I'm kind of getting myself into secure assets and forming the rest of my team without having to draft G&T per se, right? Or whoever it would be, right? That's the idea if I go that route personally for me, especially in lineup. Now in best ball, different conversation. I still want to do the same thing. But there, if I'm getting 3 or 4 shots at the dartboard, I can take some misses.
Yep. I kind of alluded to this earlier too, but the play for me for Nabers, the most obvious one that stands out is I'd trade him for Marvin plus. Lineup or best ball. Best ball, the plus could be shittier. Lineup league, second. Could you get that done? You think that's realistic?
Say the piece again.
Just Marv and a second. I don't give a fuck where the second is.
Yeah, you probably could, honestly. I just don't know in a lineup league if I would do it for just any second, just because not that it's not the right process play. It's like, can't I find a way to get that second somewhere else? That's kind of the way I think about it in lineup. It's not that you're not making the correct process play. It's more so like, I could probably find some dummy that still believes in fucking Quentin Johnson. Unfortunately, they're not on my team anymore, so that's a bad example. But something like that where I can maneuver into a second-round pick without having to come off of Nabers. I think that's one of the things in lineup for me. I'm not even going to say it's right. I've just gotten a little more choosy if I have the asset that everybody wants, where I'm not going to just let it go away for this process, which is only for a second. Because to your point, if you kept doing that, Mike, you'll still win. But for me, it's like I know this is one of the few like jumbo pieces that I can get. I can find someone to just give me more. So I'm still playing the process game, but I'm getting a late first, right, or something like that. Or I don't trade for Marv. I go to JSN to get a real first. You know what I mean? Something like that.
The only reason I bring Marv up specifically, right, since week 7 when Malik Nabers returned from his concussion.
Yep.
We'll get this super chat from Stro too, but
I wanted to put this up here. Stro, I'm putting your super chat back up. Is $20, so don't let me. But guys, put Marv tier 3. So here, I just wanted to put, if you're talking Marv, which I'll switch the player up here too. Go ahead.
Since week 7, since Nabers returned from his concussion, him and Marv in WAR per game are separated by 0.006 of a point.
Yep. Who's ahead?
Nabers by 0.006.
The reason I think that is, the reason I wanted to say who's ahead is like, but isn't Marv supposed to be ahead with Kyler? I think that's the reason, the viewpoint is what it is. I'm not saying you're not wrong. I'm just saying that I think that's what creates this.
But to talk about those guys
tier
in tier gap, in dynasty rank gap by 4 spots or whatever the fuck it is, 5 spots, however big it is.
Yeah.
To say that they're separated by that much when it's 0.006 of a warp fucking game between the two, which this also just leads to the next point I have about this, right? So I talked about Nabers and if they get a quarterback, how the hype will be, and this is what people are looking forward to, right? Like they're like fucking Daniel fucking Jones and Tommy DeVito and Drew Lock, like he's had shit, and Marv's had Kyler, right? To your kind of point about this.
Yeah.
Can I make the same argument about what if the Cardinals fire fucking Petzig and get a real fucking coordinator who's not shit? What if Kyler and him build a little bit more chemistry in the offseason? Right?
Sure.
Like, you could see a scenario, too, where next year Marv is smashing Neighbors. Because maybe the quarterback situation didn't improve. Maybe they're the fucking dumbasses who go out and draft Carson Beck, which would just make my fucking day as an Eagles fan if the New York Giants went out and drafted Carson Beck in the first round with like a top 10 selection. You just replace one dopey-looking shitty quarterback with another dopey-looking shitty quarterback, and just the cycle continues forever. It'd be amazing.
I mean,
nothing to make me happy.
That doesn't seem even that crazy, which is the worst part.
This is just some of the things
Par
that
for
you
the
kind of
course,
gotta
you know,
kind of gotta play into it. So when I'm looking at it from more of a player agnostic, like touchy-feely thing, and you kind of take away some of the things, kind of the same picture. Right? That's why I put them in the same tier, but I get it if you don't. So if people don't, and that's kind of the overwhelming support, why wouldn't you trade Neighbors for Marv and get something on top of it? And just keep multiplying.
Yeah, I mean, well, the reason one would be for me, this, I think in general, like in that format, the second might just be a piece where it doesn't actually help me grease a trade later that I want to get to. And it might not get me to the tier of players, which I call in the, you know, the higher end rostership, or the higher end, I shouldn't say rostership, but starting guys, right? Like, what if I even fucking win? Because you know what you could do there very easily. And again, this is not to process. This is more so to just the asset in general. I mean, you know how many people were really excited when they got their Jonathan Brooks in the second, or their Trey Benson in the second? Yeah. Fuck, I got myself an asset. You did. It's gone. It's fucking dead. Like, so now I basically, that's I think what can happen a lot of times in those type of tiers. Mike, I'd be far more likely though if you're telling me in round 2 there's a player that shouldn't be there. I really like it. All right. On the clock, you're going to give me this and Marv? Shit, like, done. I guess when I'm in the Marv tier right now, it has nothing to do with, I'm sorry, the Malik tier, right? It has nothing to do with Marvin Harrison Jr. It has nothing to do with anyone else. It's just like, if you're going to come get this from me, you're going to basically have to pay something that the plus is not what I would consider ancillary, right or wrong, in that format. In best ball, Mike, shit, you can throw me all these ancillary pieces. I'm taking. I'd probably kick somebody back and forth there. You know, fuck it. Here, whatever we got to do. You know, here. But like, I guess that's just one of those things in lineup where it's more so just the. This is one of the things about the way I play too, where I cut back on some leads. Is just like the psychology element of it for me is one of those things that's. I know when I have a player that I can drive a higher bargain for, right? I think you don't get that opportunity very often, right? Like, there's not that many players that are going to be Malik Nabers value insulated, right? JSN right now, when he gets up to where he's at, all of a sudden with a player like that, I'm immediately thinking, shit, man, it's probably time to sell, isn't it? Like, there are so many players that I'm immediately thinking, like, I need to try to sell right now. Malik Nabers isn't that one. That's kind of, I think, the whole totality of the conversation for me, where the process is probably still correct. It's just, nah, man, this is Malik. This is one of those few times where I can make somebody fucking get bent over a barrel. And that's what I intend to do if I'm moving my Malik. At it. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Man, I'm surprised I had so much Malik Nabers. You know, no victory lap here, but, you know, process.
How much did you have?
In Dynasty leagues. Because there's 2 redraft leagues in here.
Okay.
5.
Yeah, damn. That's actually pretty. Well, you had more leagues than me. I had 7. I think I still have 7.
3 of them are in the playoffs, ironically.
Well, Mike, the receiver position has been shitty. Malik early on was a huge warp difference maker. So just that alone could have helped you, no doubt.
We'll have to. One of them is a lineup league. The other 4 are going to be best ball leagues. So in my lineup league, where nobody knows who the fuck I am in there, they sit there and trash talk, even though they got their ass fucking beat by a quarterback order.
Mick noted. Mick noted.
Yeah, I'll see.
Who is this Mick noted guy?
Yeah, fuck this guy. Other than that, Roster Baiter knows me.
Roster Beta.
Roster Raider Nosy. Shout out Cody. That's it. Other than that, it's a bunch of dudes I don't know.
I love it. I mean, that's nice, though. 5 shares, right? Real nice.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not like 17 Jane Daniels or whatever it is. But
I was at 7.
Mike,
and I've actually traded down to 5. In best ball, that's the way it goes. Let me pull these up, by the way, too. See if I can find at least one of them to give you an idea of the context in a best ball. So by the way, I have them in Fade the Fetal, which is lineup, and the other ones are all best ball. So in those 4 other leagues, Mike, in best ball, it's probably time to go shopping, just because he's not going to be the piece that wins you the title this year in Warp.
No.
And in best ball, you can replace even an elite player at the receiver position through volume, right? The only problem is actually, Mike, I shouldn't. I shouldn't say that. It's just not the time right now, and it makes sense. In my contenders, he's gone in best ball. These teams have all missed the playoffs, so it's a little different combo there. But I still want to move him, I think.
Right. I think I might fuck around here and try to send some for Marv.
Well, we have a $20 super chat that I feel like. Speaking of, this is a Malik Nabers type of fucking.
Double.
Yeah, this is a Malik Nabers type of fucking super. Fellas, I have a 12-team start 10 PPR half tight end premium lineup league. Okay, I've got Anthony Richardson, Penix, Ferg, 1125. Jiminy Christmas. Stro, you almost got there, buddy. I've yet to see one. I'm excited to see if someone does get the whole Infinity Stone. 11 is crazy though. The amount of like psychological manipulation you have to be able to pull, I feel like, Mike, to actually get that many. At a certain point, when you start like hoarding the market, I feel like you get a couple people that are just, they don't want to give you the pick no matter what, even if it doesn't make sense for you or for them. They're just like, no, fuck you. 11:25 first, 7 seconds, 3:6 and 3:26 first. He was offered Nabers for my 101. Oh, I'm taking that, especially in this type of a situation.
I will say on that first part, yes, I'll go ahead and take it because I already have 10 other ones that I can. I'm assuming he's probably got I don't know which one he's missing. Right?
You're not missing 101, so.
He's not missing the 101. I'll take it, and I'll just add Nabers to this because also with this class, I mean, this is a conversation we're going to have all fucking off season, so there's no real point doing it right now. But there are going to be people who take that 101 and make horrific mistakes on the position that they select. How about that for a little tease? So if I'm picking 1 or 2, I'm picking 2 or I'm picking 3, I'm going, fuck yeah. Like, I want you to fuck this up. And then I'm just going to capitalize it. It didn't cost me Malik Nabers to get this fucking pick. Lick my balls. Like, yeah. I still got the better player anyways. I just didn't have to take him at the 101.
Yeah. Well, so there's a couple things at play here, actually. And I can tell you, I can speak to it very well. I've had Arkham Asylum, where I had actually all 12, and then the shit OG League, I had something like this, 10 or 11, right? And I had them both at the same year, which was 2023, and I kind of, to really put it through the experimental purposes, Mike, went down the path of, let me draft the majority, if not all of these, and go this more productive struggle type route with Arkham Asylum. And the shit OG League, I was like, man, the way I did this, where for 2 or 3 years, I basically got and leveraged everybody's future away, right? So now they don't have future, and I'm their only way to get the future. So I'm like, it probably makes more sense, especially in this league, to go ahead and just get everybody's players, because the only way they get future is through me. And when I have those 2 builds, Arkham Asylum now has missed the playoffs 2 years in a row, right? And the shit OG League, now granted, it's not going to always go 1 for 1 like this, but the shit OG League is the best team I have by a good margin, honestly. It's ridiculous. And I think the point of that in general is that if you have all these picks, if you make all of them, you are guaranteed to get some hits, but you're also guaranteed to fucking flub some. Like, it's just going to happen. You're going to probably miss 3, 4, 5 if you were to hold them through all time. The biggest way to, in my opinion, solidify this value and just fuck your league mates over, where you're not going to actually screw up the opportunity that you have in front of you, is to go ahead and de-risk all these picks, or as many of them as you can. So you trade into Malik Nabers, that value we already know is secure. It's dynamite. Whoever you took at 101, it seems that way, but like look at Marv. Shit, Marv was about as surefire as we thought. He actually has gone down some, right? I mean, we've had worse 101 players, so you're guaranteed to get off of some of the picks and into secure assets. And when I'm doing this, I'm making sure that I'm getting in a lineup league into the assets that are like what I call more cornerstone players. And if you can do that multiple times and get out of having to draft the entire class, you not only move up your window to try to compete sooner, but you also like de-risk yourself of, I mean, think about all the number one overall picks we've had. Not just number one overall, but first round I'm talking. So Quentin Johnsons of the world. Like, there's just so many of those you could think back to where if you don't draft as many picks, you're going to be better set up to not fuck it up. So I think that's kind of why I'm very much into this right now. And then you're also fire sale showing like, hey, oh shit, he sold the 101. All right, well, what's the 103 worth? What's the 104 worth? Right? You start that whole process.
Yeah, you start that up where people are now more intrigued because you're willing to deal. But yeah, that first part, I definitely do it. I did see he's got a second part to this because the second question wasn't very clear. I was like, what the fuck? Well, the next deal, contender wants to give my Thielen, who I got from waivers, plus which first would you give? The extra context he put on, which first would you give for a Dunze? Basically, the contender wants Thielen, and which first
is it
would
this
you
one?
give up for a Dunze? Yeah.
For a Dunze. Second part of that Thielen, I forgot. Okay. Wait, I'm confused.
So he's giving Thielen, and he would have to give a first to get Roma Dunze.
Oh.
The easiest answer I have for this is send the fucking latest one and put their feet to the fire. Like, fuck you, bud.
Thielen in 112?
My max, if we got to negotiate between the two, I would say would be 109 at this point. And the only reason I say it is Roma Dunze very well for me as a big Roma Dunze truther may end up a lot higher on that when we get to draft season, depending on how the class shakes out. But the dynasty value of the first round pick right now isn't that much. And you're operating from a position of having all these picks, being the only show in town, having all the leverage, and you're at the one of the lowest points that first round picks have value. Like, as we approach the NFL draft, this fucking thing is just going to keep rising and rising and rising.
And there's going to be names which keep coming up for sure.
Which I would absolutely hate to send away, like the 106 right now at its lowest fucking point for Roma Dunze. Now, I'm not saying that a Dunze won't be worth more than the 106, but at some point, the fucking hype machine around a mid first round pick, come April is going to be ridiculous. And I would rather just wait. Whether I get in a Dunze or not, you can turn that into something a Dunze or better at that time.
I think
pretty easily.
Yeah, I think probably just off of like feel, 108, 109, 110,
max.
Fine.
Yeah.
Anything earlier than that, like it's just a leverage thing where I'm not doing it. Like, again, to your point, I could give you the 106 for Rome here, and it could end up being the better play for me. But it's just not – the process doesn't make sense, right? Because you have the leverage. You have all those picks. And if someone wants to get into a pick and wants to get Thielen right now, which feels like they're trying to have their cake and eat it too, you're not doing it. I'm not doing it for 106. No, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know what that 106 could be. With all the running backs in the class and the way people might, right or wrong, pivot values into running backs, even if I win this trade down the road – like, I might be able to leverage far more than Rome for the 106 at a different time. So my window, I don't – if you're in that shoes, if you're in Stroh's shoes, I don't need to make a trade right now. You do. I'm good on 106. I'm good.
I've already locked up the whole class, basically. Like, you're the one competing, trying to put points on your team. How badly do you want it?
Right. And you want one of these gems because you know I have that rock solid thing, and that's again where with Malik, right, I'm good with it because it's Malik. But in general, think about it from the standpoint of every one of these that I'm moving off of, I need to make sure I'm getting a little bit of an edge on my side for the player, because what can 5 first buy you? 5 first can buy you a Josh Allen, right or wrong. Like, it could. I'm not saying everyone's I'm not saying someone will give it to you, but 5 first can get you Josh Allen. 4 first can get you Josh Allen.
You
right?
get a place at the negotiating table for sure.
When you get down, once you start making all these moves, if you pick up all these different players, like you're down to 2 or 3 firsts. 2 or 3 firsts plus Rome may not get you to Josh Allen, right?
Yeah.
So the idea there is to understand that it's like a diamond. Think about it when you have a half carat diamond, it's worth something. You go from a half carat diamond to a full carat diamond. 2 half carat diamonds are not worth anywhere near what a full carat diamond is. And as you go upwards, it's the idea of I have the leverage. I have this block, this fucking crazy 11, 10 first round picks. I can do whatever the fuck I want right now. You're going to have to make me come off of this block.
This is a quarterback hoarding principles, but with a more
Draft
secure,
picks.
safer asset.
Yep. Facts.
Really, because the quarterbacks can get injured and can suck. But I talk about this when I have them all, right? We do a startup in fucking June, right? I quarterback hoard. My, let's say, timeline for trading these quarterbacks doesn't have to be right after the fucking startup, right? I don't have to settle for, oh, this is a decent deal. My leverage really comes when we get into the season and Dak Prescott goes down and fucking Trevor Lawrence is down and like quarterback, like they just keep fucking falling off the table. And now my leverage has gotten even bigger. You want a quarterback? Now you really got to fucking pay. If I do this deal in July, unless the deal's like really good for me, which is kind of what we're talking about here, unless it's like 110 and fucking Adam Thielen from Roman Dunze, where it's like, yeah, this will make sense. I don't do it. You just don't fucking do it. Like, why? What's the rush? You're in an even better situation than the quarterback hoard because these picks are going up in value and they don't get injured, right? They don't fucking tear their ACL. They don't go out and toss a 5 touchdown game. They don't get benched for Andy Dalton or Joe Flacco mid-season. You don't have to worry about that.
I will say, and by the way, appreciate the super chat, Jonathan Lee. It's going to come right back up. I just want to give a shout out to Fantasy God because, like, Fantasy God, honestly, when you come in here, every time we appreciate it because it's fireworks. Right or wrong, whether we look back, you're right or you're wrong, you keep motherfuckers entertained and on their toes. Like, okay, listen, I'm not telling you can't end up being right on this, but I think most people don't necessarily agree. So I love it. I love the energy. I love the hopium. And I guess it has been a while, Mike, since he was elite when setting records. So people don't necessarily feel that way right now. All right, back to the super chat. Fantasy Guy, we'll get back to you in a minute. Don't you worry.
Ooh, a start-sit super chat on Wednesday.
Mike, wild. This is win or go home, my friend. Let's drink to this.
I like it. Man. We're in playoff mode.
I'll tell you one thing, man. When you're sick,
carry me.
This probably is a bad play in like the long run, right, process. But in the moment, nothing clears and stings the nostrils. All of a sudden, you're breathing.
More
it's
than
like
a
that.
Swedish Zin.
I mean, what's that shit? The smelling salts. That's probably the only thing you could do right now to really open you up
good,
more
man.
than this.
You're not. Those motherfuckers actually kind of taste like smelling salts. Like if you were to eat one.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
I love you too, Fantasy Guy. We'll get to you. One running back, one receiver, one flex. AJB. I'm just gonna say this, Mike. I'm not getting Q with AJ Brown.
Still start him.
No way. Could you do that in fantasy with the guys that you're looking at here? I can't.
Nope.
Okay.
No,
So he's right away. He's your wide receiver, right?
Yep.
Okay. How do you sit Jennings right now?
This one was easy for me.
Flex. Okay. So now we're
Jennings
having a running
flex.
back conversation. Okay.
Yep. Pick one of the running backs, and I'm gonna go with Pacheco. I don't know.
I was gonna do the same. I was gonna do the same. I've lost all faith in Swift. Plus his schedule has gotten to be just fucking.
This fucking offense is brutal. It's disgustingly bad. Can't stand it.
Speaking of thinking abstract, can we get rid of fucking Shane Waldron? It's not abstract at all. Let's just get rid of him.
He's already fucking gone. They already punted him into the.
He's
sun.
not gone though. That's the problem. It feels like he's still here, calling plays.
He's that as a large man, I can say this. He's that fucking fat dude who walks into a room, drops a terrible
He's
fart,
lingering.
and then walks out.
There you go. He's he's still lingering. That's what I'm saying.
The fucking fart is still there for hours.
Thank you. You get what I mean now. Like, he has clearly lingered in this. It's disgusting.
It tastes like fucking hard-boiled eggs covered in mustard.
I guess at least Caleb's looked better the last 3 weeks, but I don't know. I'm out on Swift. I mean, relative to, like, he's been scary at times.
Well, Pacheco's workload is increasing. We saw it again last week. It's still not like, oh my God, like must-start territory, but
I can't with Braylon right now still.
If it was 50% last week, fuck, it could be 60 this week. Could be 65 this week. Maybe he gets a fucking touchdown, and all of a sudden he goes from 8 fantasy points to 14, 15, 16, whatever the fuck it is. Like, I feel much better with Pacheco, and Braylon Allen is in a terrible timeshare. Like, whoever gets the touchdown between him and Isaiah Davis is the guy you want, and good luck calling that one.
Listen, I'm going Pacheco too. I can't roll Braylon Allen out right now with what just happened with Isaiah Davis. That usage, and I'm just Pacheco, please.
Mm-hmm. Pacheco. So yeah, AJ Brown, Jennings easily, and then I got to pick a running back. It's Pacheco for me.
Mike, when it rains, it pours.
Jesus, but this one's in Canadian, so is it worth more or less? I'm not good at conversion.
I'll be honest.
It's got maple syrup on it.
It's kind of like beggars can't be choosers, I guess. I don't even know. I know it's 10, so it's if it goes up, it's good for me. If it goes down, it's still good for me. You know. I don't know if we pay for. I don't think we pay for the Woodford though, for sure. That's no chance.
We ain't there yet.
No, Google takes a good half of this. So
that's some pricey shit.
Oh, dude, isn't it? Huh? Is it worth it?
It's good. It's good.
Yeah.
I like how you've converted me into this, like, bourbon.
I knew,
even though I told you I would never fucking do it again.
Yep. Mike,
you know how apprehensive I was at your house? Like, I almost vomited 2 years ago.
I had to get you. We got you there the right way. We got you, on an old fashioned.
You got me
right?
with the gateway drug.
Yeah,
the old fashioned gateway drug.
You see what I'm talking about, Mike? That right there. Rule number 1 in sales is never take the first no.
Got it.
Never take the first no. All right, and that's why with Malik Nabers, I know Fantasy God right now is saying no. I don't want him. Never. I've seen people come around. Pause. I appreciate this super chats flowing in though. Need to start too. Stafford, Stroud, Russ, Geno, and does Sharp get the start over Nabers in full PPR? Listen, if Kenneth Walker's out, I'm just going to say this, Mike. There is no world I'm sitting a Charb without Kenneth Walker anymore.
He is not hurt, right? Like I heard it at work, but it's also my work. Yeah, right.
I didn't see that.
Okay.
But to be frank with you, today I did ranks and I didn't see anything, and that was that was in the morning.
I think
Are we good?
I think we're good. Yeah, I don't see anything on him.
I know Garendo's got something. I just didn't see it with Sharp.
Yeah, Garendo's got the foot.
Right.
Yeah, if Kenneth Walker's not playing, Sharp's is must start.
Like, literally, there's no way I don't put him in my lineup. I did it last week with Najee Harris, and listen, trust me when I tell you, never again. Speaking of Mike, there are some things that are never again. That is one of them.
Shout out to Underdog for this tweet. I don't know who runs their account. Zach Sharp and 91. Kenneth Walker is inactive, 24.8 fantasy points scoring.
Come on, Jay. That was also Bill Cosby's rule.
Good Lord. Good Lord. All right.
Lord have mercy.
We thought OnlyFans was going to take the cake last week. We got a new one this week.
Mike, it feels early.
All right. Need to start 2. So Superflex League. We already settled the Sharp part. Stafford, Stroud, Russ, Geno. Stafford on the road at San Francisco does not make me feel warm and fuzzy.
A San Francisco treat. No, thank you.
All right.
I've also those matchups, Mike. Overall, now granted, this year's game with them wasn't as bad, but historically that matchup has been like 6-3, 12-6. Nah.
Yeah, that's a tough one. None of these guys.
The problem is, though, I say that, but the problem is, who are you starting more confidently? honestly, even in that matchup, I think I'm starting Stafford over Stroud.
Yeah. So Russ gets on the road at Philly. That's with probably, again, not George Pickens.
Russ has been just defying the fucking odds. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to this. I'm so sorry. I was out here doing my fields walk, and this man is out here.
Here's a little nugget for you. Don't know how much means. Last week we did find Cooper DeJean's kryptonite. Mm-hmm. It's a white wide receiver.
Scotty Miller?
If your brother going against Cooper DeJean, shut down. Adam Thielen cooked his ass last week. He got cooked. Scotty Miller. Scotty Miller. Could be the guy.
I picked up Scotty Miller in a handful of best balls, Mike.
Me too.
Come on.
Me too. This is my Trent Irwin of 2024. I'm probably going Stafford. Feels the best. Stroud at home versus Miami.
Who Seattle got?
Seattle's at home versus Green Bay.
I feel like I might go Stafford and Russ. Sitting Geno's also tough, too. I feel like Geno's a pretty safe play.
Man. You know what? Fuck it. I'm going with the first two he lists. I'm going Stafford and Stroud.
Really?
I'm going to bench Russ and Geno.
Fuck that CJ shit.
I know.
I'm going Stafford and Russ. So, Flowosaurus, Canadian or U.S., that $10 got you a conflicting answer. We apologize. We
got you the right one on sharps.
We definitely got you some of it. There are no refunds. So,
and we answered the sharp one without even knowing like what the other options were.
It's not. It's over Nabers. I mean, come on.
It's like, is there any other options?
Mike, I'm telling you.
Like how good
Mike,
is this two fucking running backs too? I'm just asking because I want to know who the fucking running backs are.
It honestly doesn't even matter for me. Can I tell you that? Like This sounds crazy, but the way they treat it is like Sharps is just going to play all the snaps the whole game for this game, right? They don't look at it whole season where you look at the whole season. What Sharps plays when Kenneth Walker is out is higher than like everybody. Not exaggerating here. So, I mean, obviously there's levels, but you're gonna have to have 3 top 5 guys in my ranks this week or something. Like, I'm getting Sharps in those fucking lineups, man. You know,
Gibbs and Achane, so at least he put it in there. All right, okay,
fine.
I kind of wanted to make fun of you if it was like, you know, fucking Connor and Montgomery. But now
some people are in the chat like Monty Gibbs, same, different, but still same,
but very different,
but still same.
Get the fuck out of here.
Okay, listen,
I gotta find that tweet of that fucking douchebag out there too, who like week 5 said, "Give me David Montgomery by a landslide over Jahmyr Gibbs rest of season." Yeah,
fantasy god. Because I love you guys. We need to think of all the scenarios. The Da Vinci Code will never be broken in fantasy. Listen, I like workshopping, big braining, 4D chessing, if you will. Like, I like it. I love it. I want some more of it.
He put this one, not only super chat, which thank you, by the way. It's Fantasy God with his fucking Jamar Chase.
Fantasy God. Fantasy God. Speaking of which,
but
I mean, he's
been
had this avatar too, right?
The Da Vinci Code may never be broken, but you know what helps solve the Da Vinci Code? Warp.life, baby. Look, I was going to say, right into a promo.
Which gets you to changing your life at warp.life.
Nailed it.
Speaking of which, bada bing.
Because it cuts through most of the bullshit.
I mean, it gives you it's code for winning over replacement players, which helps your fantasy teams with winning. So
this Jamar Chase fellow seems pretty good.
Imagine not paying him. Imagine being like, listen, the market's set. What we want to do is see, can you push it higher? Like, what was going to happen? Jamar Chase was going to be worth less than the market highest? I'm like, what? One thing I don't get with that, I want to keep his super chat up and get to the Neighbors thing too, but like, if you're Cincy, what is the upside here? I guess delaying the money, like you get more time to get the money up. is all downside. You piss him off. You piss the team off.
I get it.
He's now going to be wanting to reset what was just set as the market, rightfully so. But hey, Bungle's gonna bungle, buddy. Bungle's gonna bungle. What do you think here?
I got a little question for you. A little trivia.
For me? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Better. Let's go.
A little trivia.
Okay.
Homage to South Harmon vibes. Just been killing it. Having a lot of fun on Friday nights with my man Fizz and Adam being the Alex Trebek.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I don't know if you got the news. I won't be here this Friday. I have a fucking bullshit Christmas party I got to go to. It's not mine, so you can tell why it's bullshit. She ain't up anyway, so she ain't ever going to watch this shit. So, fuck you for making me do
if
this.
she was up, she ain't watching this. Yeah, that's fair.
I'd much rather be doing trivia, drinking more Woodford Reserve on Friday night.
I talked to Fizz right before we started this. We'll set up the big shindig for next week. Hopefully we can get the delayed birthdays with Cody and Fizz, and we'll do maybe
we'll do Fizz's birthday weekend too. God damn it!
All right, listen, you can't parties don't invent their own date.
Fucking teachers.
Just yours picked the wrong one. Pick the wrong fucking one.
But trivia, generic 4-point passing touchdown league. Okay. Lineup start 10. Super flex league. Okay. No crazy scoring. Okay. How many wide receivers are in the top 10 of WARP rankings?
Okay, it's a standard PPR.
Mm-hmm.
This is a WARP for the year, not per game.
Yep, for the year.
Standard PPR, 4-point passing touchdown. How many receivers are in the top 10?
Mm-hmm.
I haven't looked this week. Last I looked, Godwin was fucking still basically in there, which is insane. I'm going to go 3.
Ooh, ding, ding, ding. Big money. Winner, chicken dinner.
That's right, baby.
How many running backs?
What is... So we got 4 quarterbacks in there. Ew. What is 4?
Not even close.
Really? How many?
6.
Damn. I was between 5 and 4, and I'm like, well, because I know the quarterbacks, the elite ones, have been getting a lot higher, actually.
They've been getting better.
Because of the rushing, too.
But it's taken a minute.
Hold on. So there's only one QB there?
One quarterback in the top 10.
We know who Himothy is. Damn, I thought Hurts was in there.
Do you know?
It's not Josh Allen?
Who is that quarterback? Do you know?
I mean, look, I want to put my chips on Josh Allen, but the fact that you say that makes me think that it's Jalen Hurts.
It is Jalen Hurts. Right. Jalen Hurts is the only quarterback in the top 10 in WARP.
I know Allen had to get really close.
6 running backs. Yeah. You can guess the obvious one, Saquon Barkley. Number 2 running back, Devon Achane. People surprisingly. Bijan, ever since I shit on him twice in a row.
Yep.
Shout out Theo Darling. He's just laughing all the way to the back. My bad. But you're welcome for enjoying what Bijan's doing. Joe Mixon.
Yep.
Even missing games. Joe Mixon, number 4.
Yep.
Josh Jacobs, who I've also dunked on all fucking year. Like an asshole. My bad. And the God.
Last but not least.
Jahmyr Gibbs.
What's crazy, though, Mike, is Derrick Henry, who was at one point on the WARP charts in a 1 of 1 in that. So, by the way, like in that league format, Mike, I was in a redraft, right, with that exact format there. I've been following it quite closely. This is why I was spot on with the wide receivers. I didn't realize the running backs were that high. Mike, in the startup, I was forced to go far egregiously against what I thought with the quarterback position because they're flying off the board. So I ended up going with I got Achane and Henry in the 3rd and the 4th round. The problem was I was actually set, Mike. I was so set on going with Saquon and with Amon-Ra as my first 2 picks. But motherfucking CMC falls to the 110. And I'm like, I'm not passing on him, man. That sucked because Saquon changes the fate of that. But, yeah, Achan's been unreal. And think about Achan, too, Mike, with the concussion, the Guardian cap, and then playing on the fucking JV version of the Dolphins for how many weeks? I mean, that team was a
trash can quarterback.
Absolutely awful.
Here's a real fun game, though, because Fantasy God brought it up, right? We talk about Da Vinci Code, long term, brought it up. All the more reason for, I'm kind of paraphrasing here, all the more reason for GT 101 with the running back war.
For sure.
Let's play a little game. What was Saquon Barkley's Dynasty ADP in the offseason?
He was the 6th running back off the board. I remember because you asked me, and I had to name
So
him.
I am on Dynasty Data Lab. Shout out to Adiko for his awesome tool. Promote other people's good shit. He does a fucking great job.
Is that correct still?
This is from July 1st through August 31st, peak startup.
Was he 6 or 7 as running back off the board?
He was 7.
Okay, 7. All right. So what is the 309, 310?
That's pretty fucking close. I'll give it to you. You were close enough. 311.
All right.
About Mr. Achan.
A little higher. Right? Yeah. No, he was lower. So 403.
RB8, 406.
Okay.
Next running back, Bijan Robinson. Obviously pretty high for him.
He was 110. Early first, late second, 110, 202.
201.
Yeah.
201. Joe Mixon.
Chug along down. He was like... The Texans thing did push him back up a little bit towards this time period. I want to say, though, I want to say 8th.
That's pretty close. 7'10", RB18 off the board. Okay. Another running back, Josh Jacobs.
He was going higher. 6th round, mid-6, 605.
Man, where the fuck is Josh Jacobs? Yeah, higher. You are correct on that. 609.
Man, I'll tell you one thing. The brain can struggle, but it can also flowosaurus, if you know what I mean.
And Jahmyr Gibbs.
That was
You're nailing
late second, 210.
208. Fucking killing it. All right, now conversely, wide receiver Jamar Chase. Where was he? Layup.
He was like 107 to 112. Yep. His did value. Like I watched him go from the 105 to the sometimes 201. But I'll settle it like 109, 110.
Justin Jefferson, same picture in the first round.
Yeah, he's
Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Late first, early second, right?
111. Yep, and Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts was more mid. He was more like 106 to 108, right?
104.
104. Wow. I remember him going late in some of these though. Huh.
So to Fantasy God's point, just a quick synopsis of it with Adam giving the ADP. The running backs who give you elite warp can be had later. You want the elite of the elite, generally got to spend a first-round fucking pick on them.
Yeah.
Which is why you shouldn't take Ashton GT with the 101. Ever.
Which is why you should not?
Should not. You can take Ashton GT at the 101. Somebody's going to take Omari and Hampton with the 109 and get the same fucking thing.
Oh. The only thing is, though, Mike, I remember when Jonathan Brooks was going to do that. Trey Benson was going to do that. And
don't fucking besmirch the name of Omari and Hampton for Jonathan Brooks.
Mike, Jonathan Brooks healthy all this year? No ACL tear? Tell me he's not drafted at least in the same breath as Omari and Hampton.
Okay. You're right on that front.
Okay. So the point is people will prospect regardless of the injuries. I'm saying Trey Benson should not be in the same conversation, for the record. I'm not going to tell you that some people won't draft him in the same spot.
Is this super chat? All right. Like, I got a pretty good...
Oh, no. Did you watch a recent AMA? Mike's glasses might be telling again.
No, we don't got the super reflective ones on today. We're good. But we are Googling.
Mike is going to eat this.
All right. We're going to put them side by side here.
I'm kind of on, for this class, I'm willing to shoot my shot on GT, honestly.
God damn.
Yep. but Mike has left this conversation quickly with your second super chat, Fantasy God. See, one thing I know about Mike, he's good at multitasking until he's not. And this right here is 101. Like, it's GT level of getting Mike to not pay attention to what else we were talking about right here.
Did you say something?
I'm talking to Fantasy God. What'd you say, Mike?
Okay. All right, there we go. This is tough. Personal preference.
I want to make sure we say this though, Geist. No, this narrative I won't allow. Frankly, as a prospect, Bijan was a different prospect level in my opinion. Now, GT is, I think he's special. I just don't think he's Bijan level.
You know, to answer Fantasy God's super chat question, which is very important.
Which one? The latter? Okay, hold on. Let's.
By the slimmest of margins.
This $1.99 super chat has Mike's brain buzzing in a blender far more than the $19.99, the 10, all of them combined.
I'm doing a little pro-con list here. And I'll just say, as of later in their careers, I side with the little bit, I side with the thickness, if you know what I mean. So I'm going to go Mia just slightly.
Really?
Mia slightly.
I mean,
how about that?
Okay. I mean, listen, I'm not.
If you compared early careers, though, you know, Bella's got a good case.
Listen, I'm going to give you the danger, Will Robinson.
Is it hot takey to say neither one of them would make my top 5 all time? You know, like we're dynasty ranking this.
No, I mean this could end up being though where you got a Josh Jacobs deal though. Like you end up really hating your call. I mean I'm not going to tell you can't. I'm just saying.
Mia for the dub though. Ron's got it.
You look back in a year at a warp chart and you're like, oh my god,
that deserves
what have I done? What have I done?
I'm just saying, neither one overall make top 5. Like they're good value plays. They're good Joe Mixons. They're good Alvin Kamara in the 11th. Real solid. Not Jahmyr Gibbs.
I'm kind of with Redwoods on this. Look, she's got. I mean, I love girls with faces.
Most of us do. I would assume that's pretty much standard across all preferences. You must have a face.
Well,
I'm pretty sure they're like, I like dudes with arms. No offense if you don't have any arms.
I was gonna say that's not necessarily a criteria. I feel like
Wouldn't it be the worst thing ever?
You seen that one dude, literally one arm dude hooping recently?
Yeah, well he got one arm though. Like, I'm talking no arms.
Well, listen, I'm saying you understand what he has to do with that nub and how you got 2 nubs, buddy. That's not right. Come on.
What if you don't even got the nubs? Like it's off at the shoulders. You're just a torso and legs.
All right, now this is just like this doesn't happen in real life. You're just born with.
Like what if you're a really cut dude? Like let's imagine. No pun intended.
You see this? This is the type. This is where Fantasy God has driven the show to now. What do we even?
You imagine how depressing it'd be if you're like a really fit dude, but you had no arms whatsoever, and you had like an 8-pack. You know what I mean?
I mean, I'm trying to say I know what you mean, but like working out in general without nubs at all is just going to be problematic.
Well, I feel for these people because I'm built very similar. All right, not I got arms, obviously, too. Just so we're clear, I have arms.
Hell no.
I'm just saying, from the waist down, this thing is like a fucking
your arms
Adonis.
off.
This thing is like an Adonis, and Adam can attest to it. This thing is built like if you just saw waist down.
No one knows what you're pointing to or referencing right now, which is making this very entertaining.
Well, I'd stand up, but I'm not wearing pants. Or underwear. Do this show balls out every Wednesday for you people.
This is why they call it Ask Me Anything.
And I do mean you people. But from the waist down, I got great calves. I got like Saquon Barkley level thighs. You know, like they're
Good
very
night.
fit.
Saquon Barkley
ass.
level thighs is crazy comparison.
Yeah, I got a great ass. The only problem with my ass is
Man,
the back fat. The back fat.
The back fat.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Because like I'm plump from the waist up. You know, I got the gut. I got the back fat. So the back fat, like you just go straight down. You don't get to see the dump truck. You know what I mean? Which I'm working on, Adam. We're down 32 pounds since the expo. All right, son, we're cooking. All right.
Okay. That back
kettlebells.
fat's falling off.
I hit the kettlebells as soon as I got home from fucking work. You know, fucking 1,000-calorie workout. I'm exhausted, but that's what the Woodford's for.
I will say that was
AMA
not
for.
where I was anticipating this conversation going, but okay,
But really, it's
railing.
just
The rails are getting slightly back.
Next expo, I'm breaking out the badunkadunk. You'll be like, God damn, Mike's got a dump truck. You know,
Really?
I'm just saying. You know what I mean?
I've been waiting to you.
Boy, what that ass do? In a
Really?
lot.
One of my favorite lines. I'm gonna start using it more often. Just it's a great way to let people expound upon whatever fucking they're saying. Really?
You look waist down. That's a 4.540. You know, at 38, that's a 4.5. You look waist up. That's a 7.3. Somewhere in the middle.
7.3 is crazy, dude. A 7.3 is crazy. Do you know how much you have to not be moving for a 7.3, brother? Yeah. That is quicksandish. That is quicksandish on a 40. Oh my god!
What the fuck was that? Orlando Brown Jr. Didn't he have like a terrible fucking 40 time?
Yes, but pull it up. There's 7.3.
5.85.
Thank you. Thank you. A 7.3 is you are literally in quicksand.
Holy shit.
Just got off work, going to catch up while driving through snow. Hey, Kenneth, be safe on driving through snow. All right, don't be texting and driving as much as we want your comments. First year, really getting into Dynasty Best Ball as a contender. Was it smart for me to trade Brooks for Jennings? Yeah.
And Kendre Miller.
I mean, listen, Kendre, I didn't even list him because I feel like here's the thing. You traded Brooks for Jennings in the same thing. That's what Kendre is. Kendre, Brooks, different. Same.
How about that?
But different.
Man, my Google search history is going to be all over the place from me and Abella to slowest 40-yard dashes in history.
I mean, yeah, this is Mike definitely will. Mike in general makes me rethink my existence quite often, but with ass. I can't wait to see Mike to that song in fucking the Expo next year.
Regis Crawford holds the record for slowest 40-yard dash at the NFL.
All right, give it to the people.
You got to guess. Regis Crawford. He was a guard out of Arizona State.
6'1". Did he get hurt? I feel like if you're...
No.
Okay, 6'1".
Nope. He had multiple runs. That's very similar, so he was not hurt.
Okay. I mean, I gave my answer. Do I get a second to guess?
No, that was a really good guess. It was actually slightly faster.
Okay, where was it?
6:07.
I mean, listen, y'all better stop trying me with this shit. We're out here guessing the impossible by fucking 0.03.
You're fucking on the money.
Damn it. Money moves. You thought that shit was just something I say here and there?
So here's the thing. Do you think I could run a 6:07?
Yeah.
I told you I got a 4.5 lower.
If you don't get hurt, I'm taking under on 6:07.
Oh, we're good.
Now, if you go out there and you listen, you say that. I was at a combine, the BDG combine. Nick pulled up limp, and he did run over a 6:07. I mean, I don't even know. He shouldn't even have finished that thing. He was basically walking the last 10 seconds.
No offense, Nick, but even fully healthy, I would gape him. I'd take him to Gapplebee's. You know what I mean?
I love this.
I'd fucking dust him.
The scar tissue is there, he says, but he says he's going to be ready. I don't know what that means exactly, but it's like he has what do they call that? Elephantitis? It just keeps growing. Like elephantitis on his fucking right there in the groin.
Nick's he's a fit dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he is. Dude, a lot of those dudes, they are like, listen, they'll shock you with their in shapeness. Them boys take that shit serious.
A young fit dude. But if we're doing
young is starting to become a little questionable now, you know?
That's true. We're all getting fucking old as shit. But if this is like, anybody watch Discovery Channel, Street Outlaws back in its heyday, if we're doing call-outs, like I'm calling Nick out because I know I gap him.
I mean,
no question. In a 40? 200, he'd kill me.
Okay, well, here's the thing. You're asking me if I think you're going to run less than a 607.
607.
And you're saying, and you're confident enough to gape Nick. I mean, yes, you're healthy. You don't get hurt on this thing, which is the whole point. You kill that. I believe. I mean, I would say if I'm putting your over under, do you think you can get sub 5? I don't think anymore right now you can you? You muted yourself at the most important time.
Nah, I don't.
That mute meant something. Mike was like, "Damn it! You know what I want to say, but I just got to mute myself. I can't do it."
Yeah, I gotta be honest. Gotta keep it 100.
I don't think at this stage of my career that I could either. I think that's probably like doable, but like just like high 4.9s. I just don't think I would anymore. I'm 36 now, man. I don't move like I used to. You know?
No, just doesn't happen anymore. The explosiveness is gone.
What do you think's a fair?
Except in the hips, if you know what I mean. That's still there.
The gluteus maximus takes care of it, you know.
Got that old man
the pop, you know. You got to have some
got that freaky deaky streak.
That first step still goes, you know. But what's your over under? You set it at 5.5, 5.3,
5.5, 5.4, 5.4.
I was gonna guess something like 5.3, 5.4 as a fair over under.
5.4. Which
what
Ryan Mallett?
5.1.
No, I don't remember what the fuck was.
He was I don't know if you've seen that picture, guys. He was a fucking twig. My guy was a complete twig.
Ryan Mallett has the slowest in recent memory for a quarterback at 5.37.
Yeah. You think Ryan Mallett or Michael Crystal, Iowa Michael, or Ryan Mallett?
I think I got Ryan Mallett, Arkansas legend.
Really?
I think I could take him.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, he was like 6'7" and awkward as fuck.
You see how you do that? Listen, it's so easy, and it dramatifies it. Really? You just let the person keep going?
Really?
I mean, you can get someone telling a fucking whale. Have you seen, Mike, have you ever seen, there was a rapper on a interview, and he asked him where'd he go to college, and the dude goes, I didn't go to college, but I turned it down. Yeah, you never seen this? Oh,
yeah,
bro,
I saw that one. I saw that one.
They offered me a scholarship. It was a big school down in Jacksonville. Big school in Jacksonville. I mean, come on, guys. Literally, the one place. Whether you're talking Jacksonville, Alabama, or Florida, there's no big school there. Okay. Mm-mm. Yeah, it was like 15 to 10 million, 5 million. It went from 15 to 5 million,
real quick,
without even someone interjecting. Right.
What?
Wait, hold on. What are we talking about here? 5 million for a scholarship? You turned it down? That you could literally just get someone just going to do that level of thing. Really? 5 million? 5.3, Mike. Really? You think you can get that?
Really? 5.28 was Brady's time, by the way.
Mike, listen, like Malik, I'm in your neighborhood, buddy. I'm in your neighborhood every fucking time on these things. Come on now. Give me my props. I'm right there. Fuck.
You are.
Dude, I'm sorry. This is actually crazy to see how you cannot get a picture of this Brady. Like it's hard to actually believe how bad the quality is. Like this is one of those you can't even upscale. This is just gross, but I'm going to put it up on screen so people can see if they have never had the pleasure.
I was upscaling a video the other day.
Oh, wait, for real? Oh, I want to hear this.
Using AI.
Really?
Really was.
Okay.
For purposes.
Oh, no.
for purpose. See, here's a problem when you get sent videos from an iPhone to an Android. You know the quality's dog shit.
Stop.
Or vice versa. You know, vice versa, the quality's dog shit. Like, it's terrible. It looks like you shot it on a flip phone. Android and Apple need to get their shit together on this. Like, come on, 2024, we should figure this shit out. But when you want to see like good quality, I did find a, searching the Reddit. You know what I mean? The degenerates, the degenerates. There's a freeware version where you can AI upscale. Took about 45 minutes for a 45-second video, but well worth it. Well worth it. Fucker looks like it was shot in 1080p. Looks great.
The one thing I will caution you on, okay, with this AI upscaling, is the AI can have a mind of its own sometime. So just be careful. It can, when it's trying to upscale and doesn't know what's happening, it can distort things. So just you do with that as you will.
I think about on AMA, I had this conversation with Randy. No. I brought him up before on this show. Randy, shout out Randy.
Dude, it's
at work.
Hot. It is hot. Oh,
yeah, I'm sweating like a motherfucker. But a shout out to Randy at work. Randy had his best fantasy football season he's had in a long, long time. He thanked me the other day for helping him along.
Shout out Randy.
Got him on Cooper Cup and the Derrick Henry train. Randy's having a good year.
Okay.
And he was like, I gotta tap into more of your guys' stuff. You know what I mean? He didn't say tap because he's an older feller.
Yeah, I get you. You're paraphrasing. Fair enough.
Yeah. So he's like, I gotta tap into more of your stuff. And I said, Randy, just keeping it honest with you, Wednesday night may not be your scene. All right? may not fucking be your scene. All right. You're definitely probably more of a podcast, waiver wire, 4D chess, America's Game, recap show, that kind of speed.
Can Iowa Michael run faster than a twig? That's what
Wednesday
I think. That's what Expo 2024. Can Iowa Michael run faster than a twig? That's I think what we.
Imagine having bitch tits at 22.
I mean, I don't even know if you can call it. They are, but they're like not even. They're not even big enough to be that. But yeah, no. like skinny fat bitch tits, right? Like
he went like. He was ugly as fuck when he was young too. Like
granted, this is
grown into a beautiful fucking man.
Now, mind you, this picture's it's probably in like 1080p is far cry from what this is. This is bad, but
no, you're onto something though. Like not just this picture. Somebody put on Twitter a timeline thing of all his NFL headshots over his career.
Mm-hmm.
He's gotten more beautiful the longer he's gone on.
Money can buy looks. I mean,
that's false when they say they can't.
It just depends on when they get the money to you. By how early can we get this thing? But I mean,
Fizz knows, man. There's things called BBLs.
This is the greatest quarterback of all time. This is the greatest football player of all time, right there, Mike. Like
it is. That's the GOAT. That's a peak male performance.
Speaking of which, before we get out of here, listen. If you haven't seen it, you need to go check out. I'll put it in. Shout out to the Discord. Shout out to Patreon. I'm gonna drop the link in there. You seen the obviously with Belichick going to UNC. Have you seen the video? The whole, what is it? Step Brothers, where he's like talking about she's had the old bull, but what if she wants the young calf? Like all the players from UNC talking to Belichick.
Yes.
Will you shut the fuck up?
My other favorite one was Bill Belichick pulling up to UNC, and it's the clip from Billy Madison where he comes to high school for the first time wearing the jean jacket,
yeah.
like leaning on the roof. Yeah. Now people are having a good time with that one.
Belichick literally was on, what was it, a couple days ago. Felt like 48 hours ago on McAfee's show. If I was to take, and it's a big if I was to take over a college program, I'd run it like a pro factory. Like, spelled it all out, talked about how he get the kids and the connections he has and all that. Why are you stunting, man? Why you gotta put an emphasis on the if? Like this shit wasn't already done, locked up. Stop it.
As soon as he took that job, I was wondering if Ryan Switzer had any eligibility left. You remember how good he was going to be at UNC?
Yeah.
And then he was going to get to the pros? Bill Belichick at UNC? Oh, my God. I could have been the next Julian Edelman.
It was kind of crazy, too. Like, Hoodie just keeps it. at this point, like he's just so real about certain shit too. Like obviously not the if part, but he's like, I mean, if they're good enough from there, I don't know. I mean, we'll see. They get there. It's on them from there, basically. But they'll come
Surprise
through.
white freshman wide receiver Reese Vanderzee has now announced his entering the transfer portal to go to UNC now that Bill Belichick is there. Fuck.
Yeah, the game, I don't know, man. The entire game is really from, I don't know, you talk about in the 15 years ago. The game in which we know it is just going to be so fucking different, dude. Like, it's literally becoming, I mean, in a way it's the same because they just paid people under the table, realistically. Like, if you think this 10 million, now granted, 10 million over the table, like, you know, it's like over the pants handy, you know, everyone just, they saw it. They got to see it. It's the only difference, right? Like, everyone got hand check. We all watched when your hands didn't come up, you know? Hey! That's what that was. But this shit's been going on for forever. It just hasn't been 10 million. It's been plenty of people getting paid to go to school, buddy. And I got news for you.
Definitely. For a while.
So it's not going to be that, I don't know. It just is going to be very different in the way in which now you're looking at these people competing that have pockets out. Like that whole call with the Michigan. I don't know if you saw the Barstool Dave he put out, basically how it kind of went down. Like people are going to be, that just have money, are going to start meddling in the game. It's just, that's crazy. That's just insane, you know?
And fandom's a crazy fucking thing. You're a crazy fan with a lot of money. Rules are off, man.
Listen,
Shout out to
people
Alvin
come on
Mack
here
for teaching me about college players getting paid, you know, in 1994 to program.
Listen, let's give a shout out to Super Chats and to everybody here, right? People come on here sometimes with questions. Mike, people come on here very often to stunt, right? Stunting like my daddy. They just $10 Super Chat to let everyone know, yeah, motherfucker, this is my team.
I'm here.
Take that, Meek Mill levels to this shit. People just with more money than God just doing that to get a player to go to their school, you know? It's same thing. Different.
But same.
But still same.
But still same.
Yep. Yeah, we are live, T-Rock. T-Rock's been coming at the tail end, though. Kind of getting me all hot and bothered. Coming at the tail end of these.
He always does. He's probably riding dirty like he always does.
Are you? Okay. Are you starting DJ Moore over Cup? No.
No fucking world.
Cooper Kupp, for a fair amount of the game, seemed to not be doing anything, and then he winds up with 20 points. Like, no. I know it's the Frisco matchup, but no, I'm not doing that.
I know I'm a little
Biased.
late. Well, I'm a little late to the fucking party because it was actually a couple weeks ago. But this week I just discovered Kendrick Lamar's new album, GNX. This is like starting an old fucking Drake album or choosing an old Drake album over Kendrick's new bangers out there.
God. Mike,
You know, you just don't do it.
I'll tell you one thing. One thing I'm not sure about with introducing Mike to the Woodfords of the world is, I mean, it's like, listen, we're all about to get out of here. Everyone's happy. Everyone's all, you know, in their good feels. Mike's like, you know what? No. Fuck that shit. Let's fight. I want to fight. Fight me. He just fight me.
He made a whole fucking song about a Grand National. What a great fucking car to pick, too.
Fair.
The Grand Nationals. Making a comeback.
What do you think of the Soto signing?
That's a lot of money.
You seen some of these X tweets and videos are awesome.
Jesus Christ. Oh, I know Maddie's mad because he didn't sign with the Red Sox, but as a fellow Red Sox fan, thank fucking God, man. Are you gonna pay over $700 million to a player? You better be able to fucking pitch, hit, manage the team, do the laundry, run the concession stand, be the announcer. Good for Soto though, man. Set up for fucking life. Set up for fucking life. He's almost got it as good as Bobby Bonilla.
If it ain't Terry, unless Terry's somehow on your waivers, I mean, I guess not. No, not really.
No. Noah Brown, no. De'Ami Brown, no. Lamade Zacchaeus, I picked him up in a best ball league. How about that?
Yeah, I mean, Fizz likes to call. Shout out Fizz, AJ Brown, Doodoo Brown. These are the real Doodoo Browns, okay? No.
Super
good.
shit. Just dog shit.
Speaking of which,
get Jaden another receiver, please.
Speaking of which, Flowosaurus is before I puke. Sickness is coming back. That's gross. Them Commanders fucking receivers. Goodness gracious. Love you, Flowosaurus. Love you, Fantasy God. Love you, everybody. Super chatting. We love y'all. We'll see you back here.
The sign will be back next week. I promise. I got the part. It'll get fixed. The vibe will be back. It just doesn't feel right without it on, Adam.
The sign you were promised. Next week's AMA. We love you. We'll see you back here. Same time, same place. Peace.